Mr. Meadows did complete both a call to Mr. Stone and General Flynn the evening of the 5th. Mr. Meadows had a conversation with me where he wanted me to work with Secret Service on a movement from the White House to the Bullard Hotel so he could attend the meeting or meetings with Mr. Giuliani and his associates in the war room.
Hey, what's going on? You're here with Tech Milli, and what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be reviewing the bulletproofing. We already went over one phase of the bulletproofing. Bulletproofing again takes 5 different things that's included. We're gonna be going over it again, and then we are going to be really looking at the EGR line. That's the component we're gonna be looking at. All right, so the reason why we're focused on the 2003 to 2007 F350 is because it is a very powerful engine at 6.0, but it has a lot of failures that make it so that you can't tow heavy. Again, I'm in the logistics game. I'm in the logistics business, meaning that my plan eventually is to put on the back of that trailer something that may be 15,000 pounds or less, something like that. So right now, the most I would do with my F350 is just drive around, look pretty in it. As far as once I get it up to a certain point, then it's 8,000 pounds or less. And then after that, we're going to get to the point where we're 8,000, 15,000 pounds driving coast, not really all the way to coast, but coast to Gulf, and then back to the East Coast. As far as driving all the way from coast to coast, I wouldn't do it in the F350 just because if anything does happen, I would like to be able to salvage it without having to spend $2,000 to $3,000. If it breaks down in California, I'm looking to sell the truck just because it's so far out of range, and everyone knows California is stupid expensive. So it would not be worth it going to California with a older 2007. Now, if I had a truck that was like a rental from like I guess Penske or something in the nature, then it is what it is. But yeah, so you bulletproof it for reliability, heat management, and longevity. If you don't plan on owning the truck for a long time, then there's no reason to bulletproof it. But if you are planning on owning it and driving over 300,000 miles, you need to bulletproof it. All right. What does it mean? It does not mean it's indestructible. It's not a single mod. Also, it's correcting factory weaknesses. The system balance over horsepower. As you see, there's the engine right there. That inside looks sexy. It's so compact though. That's the only thing about dealing with a F350 or higher. It's like the bigger that 100 digit is, the tighter it is. I promise you. All right. Why do we need to bulletproof the 6.0? All right, is because it's a strong engine core, tight emissions margins, heat stacking, and support system fail first. Support systems fail first. So this is just a little image of really. So the cooling system flow. As you see, the radiator is here. The radiator then goes into the engine. So this is coolant to pump from bottom of radiator port. So this is the bottom hose, and it goes into the engine. And as you see, the coolant pump where it's cooling things down, and then from here you have it where it's going into the heater core, then it's going back into. All right, and then from here, if you notice, this component right here goes into the EGR cooler, and then from the EGR cooler, cooled exhaust out of EGR valve, and then coolant feed to EGR valve. All right, then it goes in this. It goes in 2 different directions. In fact, hold on. So yeah. I went the wrong direction. So it comes out this way. Where the coolant is coming this way into this EGR cooler one, hot exhaust in from right up pipe. All right, and if you notice from here, it has a little wire or radiator overflow supply to the gas bottle, flow in either direction, so it goes back and forth. And after that, from here, it's a lot of the heat comes this way, and this is a partial cooled exhaust gases going this way into the EGR cooler 2. This part right here is a color change, indicates coolant temperatures as heat is transferred from exhaust gases to coolant. All right, as you see there, and then it's into the EGR cooler part of the second part of it. The cooled exhaust out of the EGR valve, and then it goes back into the engine, and then it goes into, as you notice, it goes back into the radiator, whereas hot coolant goes back into the radiator that way. So if the upper radiator hose is broke, in theory, that means that the hot radiator fluid is not going to be recycled into. So that's going to be an issue. And after that, another part that it goes into, the coolant feed to EGR valve. All right, then we have it where it's going into this direction. This is like a pump or something of that nature. The coolant feed to degas bottle. So the degas bottle is here, and then it has two different entries. So the degas bottle is basically the coolant reservoir. Or the overflow. That's what the degas bottle is. It's from the driver's side. Let's go ahead and look back. So I'm assuming that they're referring to this component right here. All right. Let's go ahead and move to the next. All right, bulletproofing philosophy. The philosophy is restore balance between the heat, pressure, and flow. All right, we already went through the way the coolant goes into the system. All right, so let's go ahead and dive a little bit more into it. The 5 factors of bulletproofing: the fastening and sealing. Those are the ARP the ARP bolts, because remember, whenever you're driving, it basically the bolts at the factory bolts is going to make the engine do this, and eventually it's going to pop. The second part will be the oil cooling. We talked about it the time before. This is the one we focused on before, which we were basically focused on the air to oil or the mechanical oil radiator. It's one of the two. A lot of times, if you're not planning on owning it for long term, like 5 or 6, 7, 8 years, the air to oil may be overkill because it costs like $750 minimum. That's what it looks like from what I've been looking at and researching. As far as the other form, where it's just a mechanical thing, where that right there may only cost you $75 to $250. And then after that, the third part will be the coolant flow. That will be the filtration system that a lot of times is asked for. And the fourth one will be the exhaust heat management. The EGR has a little bit to do with that. And the fifth factor will be monitoring, being able to see the ECT and the EOT in evaluating and making sure that the system is acting where we're acting like it should. So we talk about the first factor, the fastening and sealing. This prevents head lift as well as maintain combustion seals. If you notice, these are the ARP bolts right here. And these are the little lifters that are attached here. And you literally have to take the top of the engine manifolds, as far as the valve covers for them, and then you have to do more. In my opinion, it is a deeper dive into the engine than all the other things. That's one reason why we're going to do it last. The second factor, the oil cooling, protect the HEUI injectors. It also stabilize oil temperatures. Again, it's more of a mechanical thing where it's on top of the engine itself. And if you look at this little diagram here, you actually, this is, if you look at the F350's upper oil housing, it will be actually really the upper fuel filter housing and the oil filter housing, because there's only one oil filter housing, but it is two fuel filter housing. The fuel filter housing on the upper part is a very small container, and it's attached to the oil filter. All right, and then after that, if you notice that this is the device right here, and apparently it plugs right into the oil filter. Okay, so refer to engine service manual for disassembly and assembly instructions. Note fasteners shown below cooler cover and base plate are self-tapping. So again, this is a fuel oil filter housing kit. All right, let's go ahead and look at the third portion. So the third factor will be the coolant quality and flow. This is what we're talking about, the coolant the coolant filtration system, meaning that you get the debris out of it. Again, if you are looking to have the system run and you're not trying to put too much money into it, I still recommend getting this into it. And this improves heat transfer, and it prevents the debris and the dirt and whatever gets into the oil and the cooling system. So that this is something that, even if you don't fully bulletproof it, this is something you need to look into. You can find some systems as low as $80, or you can find some systems that may be upwards of $500. I recommend getting a system that's around $200 something, like a Sinister. That if you want to make it look pretty, if not, at least $150. All right, the fourth factor would be the exhaust heat management. This controls the EGT stress, also protect emissions components. So this is just little images of the EGT exhaust gas transfer process. All right. The fifth factor will be monitoring. Watch ECT and the EOT, and you catch failures early. It's always good to have a system. One thing that I've noticed, like when I really wasn't paying attention with the F350, the F350 will run kind of hot, and then after that I'll put the heat on, and then eventually it broke down, and I had to spend like $5,500 to get it back up right. And then the last time it had a little failure, for the most part. It's really like when you talk about these systems, it's so easy to mess up that if you at a certain point in time, it might be better just to start anew. So the reason why the sequence is matters is because partial fixes still fails. Heat must be controlled first. So again, we're focused on the EGR portion. So where the EGR system fits, it intersects oil, coolant, and exhaust. First visible failure point. So the EGR system is the first visible failing point, as you see here. This is the EGR cooling line right here, and it really goes in between the oil filter housing and the intake manifold. All right, so it has a lot. So the key truth: the EGR system doesn't start the problem; it reveals it. That's one thing it does. It's not the problem, but it reveals a problem is there. The EGR deep dive: EGR line functions, the failure modes, upgrade paths. If you see here, this is the EGR line, and this right here is the EGR coolant supply. And then the EGR cooler exhaust connection, it goes right there. So bulletproofing is about balance, not hype. So what we're going to be doing, we're now going to be watching a few videos partaking into the EGR system. All right, we got a few videos we're gonna be watching that deals with it, and then after we're done watching those, we're going to then go into watching a few TikToks and go from there. Most of these are very short, so it's not like it's going to be a long deal.
But not all of them. Do you know how to tell if your 6 liter is being deleted? Most 6 liters have been deleted, but not all of them. If you look here next to the oil filter cap, you'll see an EGR valve. Now, some will have this valve, some will not have it. That's really irrelevant to whether the EGR is being deleted or not. Right next to the turbo, you'll see a skinny little tube that redirects the coolant from the block into the oil cooler. This means that this truck has not been deleted. This truck is still emissions compliant. So if you are an officer and you're looking to inspect a vehicle and you see that, it is good. Nothing's been deleted on the truck. Still good to go. Okay, now that that's out of the way, if you are someone looking to buy a 6 liter and you want to make sure it's deleted, if you see that little skinny pipe right there, it has had its EGR deleted. But if there's this big stainless pipe coming from the back of the engine all the way up to the front, then it's not deleted.
That's dirty.
Alright guys, I'm going to try to explain how EGR works in less than 60 seconds here. So EGR stands for exhaust gas recirculation, and what it does is it reduces the formation of NOx. NOx is created by combustion. The hotter the combustion is, then the more NOx your engine is going to create. So in order to do this, what we do is we take basically the exhaust gas after it's been released from the combustion cylinders. It's depleted of oxygen, right? So we send this exhaust gas through what's known as an EGR cooler, and then it will circulate through this EGR cooler, through this tube, around the top of the engine. And if we come to the other side of the engine here, we can see where it will enter the intake manifold. Therefore, inert gas in the cylinder, less oxygen, less heat, less NOx. Thank you.
All right, so you got a 6.7 power stroke. You got to replace this EGR tube here. And anybody who's been down this road knows these suck, because you got these little M6 bolts in a high heat area that like to gall. Like right here you can see pulled threads coming out, pulled threads coming out. Trick to that, get the truck nice and hot. Take it down the highway. I like using a little MAP gas down in there, get it heated up. Go down on the bolt head with the long punch, whack it. Then take a long 8mm swivel, get down there, crack it free. And when I say crack it free, I'm talking just a hair. Spray it down with lube, heat it up a little bit, and then work it out, just quarter of a turn at a time. Saves a ton of aggravation.
Yeah, you don't want to break those. Snap them. It's like whenever you're dealing with that high.
Turns out you should never sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident. There's a much better way you could get paid a way bigger check without.
I hope everyone is having an incredible day. Easy Auto Fix here, and today we're gonna learn symptoms of a bad EGR valve. The purpose of the EGR is to open up and recirculate part of the exhaust gases back into the intake manifold. These exhaust gases help reduce the temperature of combustion. This is super important because NOx is formed at high temperatures, so by reducing the temperature, it reduces the NOx formation. So when it comes to symptoms of a bad EGR valve, it can go into two different directions. You can have symptoms of a stuck open EGR valve, or you can have symptoms of a stuck closed EGR valve. The easiest way to figure out if your EGR valve is bad is by noticing your check engine lights on. Here are some codes related to a bad EGR valve. You can read these codes by going to the parts
This
store near you, and
P40,
they'll most likely do it for free.
P0400
Or you can buy the
to
scanner that I have that's worth it, linked in the description below.
P0409.
The second symptom you might be experiencing with your car is a failed emissions test. This can be due to a stuck closed EGR valve. A stuck closed EGR will prevent exhaust gases from coming into combustion. If the exhaust gases don't come in, the temperature inside the chamber will increase and produce more NOx. And too much NOx will fail your emissions test. The third symptom you might be experiencing with your car is engine knocking. Engine knocking is when an unplanned mini detonation occurs during the power stroke in combustion. People describe it as a pinging noise. A stuck closed EGR prevents exhaust gases from coming inside the combustion to cool it down for proper temperature levels. Hot temperature levels inside the combustion can ignite the air/fuel in unwanted times, which creates your engine knocking. The fourth symptom you might be experiencing with your car is a lack of acceleration. A stuck open EGR valve can be the cause for this. A stuck open EGR will continuously add exhaust gases back into the combustion chamber. These gases will take up space, therefore limiting the amount of air that can enter for optimal engine performance. This is why your acceleration is lacking. The fifth symptom of a stuck open EGR valve is a rough idle. The same reason occurs here. Since the EGR is stuck open, it takes up space from the exhaust gases inside the combustion, not leaving much room for air to combust with fuel efficiently. This leads to improper combustion, which results in your car having vibrations. Now, if you figured out the EGR valve is faulty and want to save some money, use the cleaning chemical in the description below to try cleaning it first before buying a new one. The EGR valve is known for collecting grime due to recirculating the exhaust gases all the time. There's many engine parts that create similar symptoms but different reasons why. If you want to learn more, make sure to subscribe and check out my auto symptoms playlist. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a productive day.
Okay, I'm just going to do a little walkthrough on my EGR delete. So, got the coolant bypass system right here. Took the EGR cooler out. I welded it on the front, so I cut it down so I still have the support bracket back here. Cut off the old coolant. Also put a stainless plug back there where the exhaust came in previously. So exhaust would flow this way. This is more just cosmetic right here. And then we got the EGR delete bypass for the coolant. I was gonna go with, just putting two plugs on the end of the old EGR cooler, but it was all gummed up. Wanted a more bulletproof system, knowing that I didn't have to have my welds hold up only for the exhaust, and I still have the coolant bypass. So it's kind of how I did it. Still got the support in the back for the exhaust bellows, so that's good. Yeah, let me know what you guys think.
That thing dirty.
I've got to share this. You can get car insurance for as low as $22 per month. Take a look. As low as $22 a month.
Exhaust gas recirculation, EGR for short, is an important pollutant reduction method in petrol and diesel engines. Here we can see its basic structure. Exhaust gas is taken directly after the cylinders. Then, the EGR valve regulates the subsequent mixing of the exhaust gas with the intake air. This means that less oxygen reaches the cylinder, Less oxygen means a lower combustion temperature. This way, nitrogen oxide quantities can be reduced by up to 70%. As the higher the temperature, the more harmful nitrogen oxides are produced. In petrol engines, this can also reduce carbon dioxide emissions and fuel consumption. A key component of exhaust gas recirculation is the EGR valve. It meters the quantity of exhaust gas that is returned. EGR valves come in various designs and models, pneumatic or electrical, for petrol or diesel applications, or with connections for cooling. Regulating throttles are used in the intake air system in diesel vehicles. They generate the pressure difference required between the exhaust gas side and intake side to achieve the necessary high exhaust gas recirculation rates. Air mass sensors are required in diesel engines to regulate the exhaust gas recirculation, for example. With their help, the mass of the recirculated exhaust gas is calculated indirectly using the reduction of intake air. Since simple exhaust gas recirculation has no longer been sufficient to fulfill emissions standards for some time, EGR coolers are used. Cooled exhaust gas reduces the peak combustion temperature even further. This again significantly reduces the amount of nitrogen oxides. Just like all components in the EGR system, EGR coolers are exposed to the extreme conditions of the aggressive exhaust gas condensate. They must therefore be manufactured from highly corrosion and temperature-resistant materials. Many of today's EGR coolers feature an electrical or pneumatic bypass flap. They allow the exhaust gases to be directed past the EGR cooler in the warm-up phase to quickly bring the engine and catalytic converter to operating temperature. This also reduces noise generation, the so-called diesel knock, and the raw emission of hydrocarbons in the warm-up phase. Bypassing is also possible if high exhaust gas temperatures are required, for example in the recovery of the diesel particulate filter. The previous high-pressure exhaust gas recirculation system is no longer sufficient for meeting the limit values as of Euro 6 and Tier 2. An additional low-pressure EGR system is required. With this system, the exhaust gas is taken after the particulate filter on the low-pressure side and added again before the turbocharger compressor. An exhaust gas flap provides the exhaust gas back pressure required for this. Pierburg is a significant contributor to the current state of the art. The first EGR systems were used in some petrol-driven vehicles as early as the 70s. In the 90s, this technology also began to be used in diesel vehicles.
Welcome to Ford Tech Talk. In this series, we'll focus on tips to help you fix Ford and Lincoln vehicles right.
Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you how to unplug the EGR on your 2011 through, I'm going to guess 2016 Ford trucks. Mine's a 2013 F350. I just got done fully deleting it with a 4-inch downpipe back exhaust. Got SCTX4 to do the tunes and got the custom tunes from Tyrant Diesel Tuning. Tunes run awesome. Anyways, this is how you unplug the factory EGR. I have not gotten around to being able to order and put in my EGR delete yet. I do plan to do so, but for right now, Tyrant actually turns off the EGR system and closes the valves. There's just a couple of plugs you've got to unplug. It's real simple. I've got mine zip tied up right now, but basically you've got this orange plug right here. be routed straight over and plug into this, which is on top of the EGR cooler. And then you've got this black plug down here, which actually goes back in here into probably some kind of a solenoid, but goes right here. So again, orange is right here. You basically just unpop it and route it down here if you want it, just like I did. And then you've got a black over here. The black will just unplug and write it down where the orange one is. So right here, you can kind of get a general idea of where I'm at on the truck. Obviously your radiator intercooler and such is over here. Your coolant tank is right here. Got an intercooler pipe there, and this is your fan shroud. So right here between the fan shroud and I guess another intercooler pipe. But if I zoom in right here and look, you'll see a plug right there. Well, that plug is another orange plug. I now have that orange plug right over here, where I basically just took it underneath this intercooler pipe, underneath that, whatever that is, and just zip tied it over there as well. But like I said, it's another orange plug right here, right near the fan shroud, actually on the inside of the fan shroud. You'll basically unplug that, unplug those two over there, and your EGR will be unplugged. Hope this helps. If it did, like, subscribe. If you've got any questions, comment.
The smartest irrigation system in the world just got smarter. With Smart Rinse clog prevention technology, Irrigreen Sprinkler 3 runs.
Yeah, my main thing is looking at the EGR. The EGR line would definitely be like in between the devices. All right. If you'd like to know more about bulletproofing, go ahead and check out a few of the old videos we've done. This one right here is just shopping for the bulletproof ride. It's like basically trying to figure out how much things cost for the most part. That's really what I'm trying to get at. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna watch a few videos on it, but before we do, we're gonna look at the shopping portion of what the EGR lines look like for the most part, and then the cost of them as well. As you notice, like these are a few of the EGR lines. They got one for $445, one for $150. Then if you want to go and get the cooler, and this is more than just the EGR line, because it's got the EGR line, the cooler, the oil cooler, and then a bunch of gaskets and things of that nature. As you notice, you can find some of these EGR lines for as low as $150, as high as $500. Got another one, $371. Another one for $150. It's pre-owned. $520, but this right here is different year. So this 2008, 2010 makes it different. We look at this one pre-owned, 2004 to 2010, $150. Another one pre-owned. So if you notice, the ones that are pre-owned, you can get for $150. The ones that have been used, $150, and the ones that are new normally is over that number. As you see, that's $574. But this comes with the oil cooler, and then more gaskets that are involved in it too. So this is a little different. It's not the same. So this is just the cooler itself for $360, and then the gaskets that come with it. Same thing. This right here, brand new, upgraded one right here, and it's only $95. This is the EGR line. So that's a steal right there. Go ahead and put that little heart. Well, I can't heart it right now. I guess I'm not on it. But yeah, so you have another one. This is 2008, 2010. That's not us. 2004 to 2010. Again, it's pre-owned $150. brand new, and it comes with a few other items against the oil cooler. That's 850. Then after that you say 150 for the used, 190 for something that's new with the oil cooler. So this is something that's pretty good. If this is actually brand new as far as the oil cooler and the EGR line, oh, that's a steal right there. After that, you have a cooler. That's 2010, 2019 Dodge. That has nothing to do with us. That's 6.0. You don't even know if this is. It looks like it, so we're gonna assume it is 130. And that's something dealing with international. Nothing to do with us. 6.7. Nothing to do with ours. This right here is $98 pre-owned. This is the oil cooler, $310 for the oil cooler. It's not the EGR. Then it's the $100 brand new for it, and it looked like it may be. It looked like this may be it because it said 2004 to 2012 that do tracks. This is the head gasket. As far as the ARP, I don't know if it's the ARP or the OE. I think this is the OEM. It's not the ARP. But it's for the 2004, 2006. This is the oil cooler, the one that attaches to the engine on top, $387. Then this is just the EGR line, $460. That's pretty penny. Keep looking. That right there, I don't think this is the same year. It looks different. But at the same time, maybe, hey, it could still be $540. For right now, we're gonna assume it is $420. After that, this is a Chevy. That's not us. We in Ford. We talking about Fords. Yeah, that's not us. 6.7. That's not us. 260 for the oil cooler. That's us. 215. And then the head gasket set. 2004, 2006, almost us. 1200, that's not us. 125. So this may be us right here, where we're talking about the studs and things in nature. 663. Yeah. Yeah, so looking at it, it looks like if you want to get it, I've only seen one that was kind of new for like $75, but the majority of them that were new were at least $150, and after that, a lot of them were like $200. A lot of the pre-used were $150, and it was a few of them that were for around $100. But it looks like if you're gonna get that and get it where it needs to be, is going to be at least $125. So yeah, so now what we're going to do, we're going to check out some people on TikTok and see how they're handling the EGR replacement. We're going to do a couple minutes of that. After that, we're going to call it quits.
Alright guys, I'm going to give y'all a little pointer on these EGR valves on the 3-cylinder row. It's a little cramped, so I'm not really going to be able to do it in the vehicle. So I'm going to need both hands for the way I do it. I can even
supposed to be removed on these to do the EGR valves on this. Alright, so the way I do this, I've seen people, you know, use super glue, use RTV in a bunch of different ways. So you've got a bottom plate here, which leads to your EGR piping to your exhaust manifold and turbo. And up here you've got your top plate that goes up into your intake to your turbo. It's very tight. It's a very tight squeeze. Getting two gaskets in there can be a pain. So we'll seat our lower gasket there. We'll take a long bolt, slide through there to keep that in place. And we will take a pick or a long screwdriver. We'll seat it straight there through the back. Hold that gasket in place to keep it from getting knocked out. And I will take my new EGR valve with my bolt ran through. And I'll shimmy it in just like that. Just hold that up. Shimmy it in until you reach the bolt right there. So we got our pick right here stopping it from sliding. We've got our bolt right here stopping it from sliding. Once you get there, pull your bolt out, leave it in until you hit your pick. If you can, place your finger on the gasket, shimmy it in a little further, pull your pick, a little bit more shimmying. And once you got it lined up, you can line everything up just like that. Once you got everything lined up, pull one at a time and 3 studs in there.
I definitely didn't want to use an open-ended crow's foot because that would have just rounded over those bolt heads. All right, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, you back in. Click. And then put this reservoir back on. Sorry, that's not a master cylinder because it's a weird hybrid system on this. But it does say brake fluid, so it's got to be for something about the brake. I assume that's ABS right next to it. Now, is it distinctly possible this didn't do anything? Yes, but I didn't want to take all the intake manifold off and do any real troubleshooting. 200,000 miles seemed like a good time for an EGR valve. It's an intermittent code, so it kind of fixes itself. Just says it's a low flow issue, something like that. And obviously $300 seemed a lot easier to start with. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Probably should have started with this, huh? It goes to emissions this month. All right. So many modules on this. So right now we're only showing one fault, which is on the telematics, but it does some weird thing on that screen, so I'm not worried about that. I've done that before. Okay. So no trouble codes at this point. Even my little Harbor Freight guy says no emissions related ETCs. All right, let's try to get this engine up to temperature. I'm not seeing any coolant leaks at this time. 2GRFXE. I should only have to get a good drive cycle out of it and hope that that code does not come back. After all, who wants to waste their time on emissions if you have to come back? Because that comes back on again. Well,
so it's my 2002 Honda Accord. So it's rough on idle. And basically when it drops RPMs, it shuts off, but it's after I drive. So if I raise the RPMs and drop them, it basically just cuts out and dies. I'm changing the EGR valve. This is the part where I pretty much need to replace.
Actually, I want to see if it is that, because I'm going to be able to turn on the car. There's the gasket, and that fits in there too. Now I'll just position this in. Alright, either way, that's lined up. Now I just gotta carefully.
Right, you're testing it before you lock it up. That's smart.
Put these things.
Okay, so you putting it back together all the way. There's nothing wrong with that.
Alright, well, I got the bolt on there. I just kind of want to make sure I can tighten it down a little bit, because that crap freaking is scary.
Either way, I changed the EGR valve. As you can see, I drove around for a mile, but now the idles, I mean, obviously the engine's warm, but the idle is staying pretty relative. I was going 45, braked. Idle's been staying low. There's no vibration or shaky. It did take about 5 minutes for it to finally reset in the system, but after driving it for a while now, it's been just going to that part. So fixing the EGR valve did help. Might have to still change the idle air control valve, but either way, so far right now, this has been working just by driving it a mile. I did use this carbon choke parts cleaner. I pretty much just sprayed directly inside of it, and I was able to clean out a little bit. Still not perfect. I'm gonna have one of my buddies take it all apart and clean it up, but that's where I'm at with this right now. So yeah, this is pretty much it driving. I mean, just drove another mile. Sounds good. Still haven't stopped. Should be able to like stop now without any issues. Driving pretty steady. So even right here, starting to slow down. Don't really feel any shaking. Low RPMs, but still staying pretty steady. Yeah, so still really good. Was able to drive it over here, no issues. So it turns on right there. You can see with the RPM, stays pretty steady even after warming up for a while. Stays steady when I brake or stop the car. It no longer shuts off, and it stays about 600 to 700 RPMs. My buddy also recommended me this BG Platinum air intake valve and combustion chamber cleaner and the fuel system cleaner. So I just went ahead and bought it, and he's gonna go ahead and do this for me. Should be able to clean up a lot of the carbon buildup. If you guys have any other suggestions or have dealt with this before, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, so that really concludes what we got going on for today. Again, today we was just focused on the EGR line. The next time we meet is going to be on one of the other 3 factors, the FICM. Maybe it's FICM we'll worry about. Maybe it'll be the heads, and then maybe it will be the other one, which will be we already went over the oil. I guess the monitoring system, one of those. So we got at least 4 more sessions that we're going to be doing. 3 more dealing with the other 3 factors, or the because again, in order for it technically to be bulletproof, 4 out of 5 has to be done. One thing that has to be done out of the 4 out of 5 is the ARP studs, replacing those, and then after that, shoot, man. The last ones is going to be the overall totality of what it is bulletproofing, and then we're going to actually start jumping into getting and fortifying the F350. Again, my plan is to take care of the oil, the air to oil, or the oil mechanical piece, one of the 2. I was going to do one of the 2. I may do both of them actually, because I'm just like trying to, like when I get on that road, I'm trying to be able to push 15,000 pounds. And after that, the next modification will be the EGR line. And then the third modification will be the coolant filtration system. The fourth modification, which I've already did one of them technically, I already put the blue spring fuel pressure, which is the little blue spring, and then also that'll be the FICM, which will be the fuel computer, the computer that lets us know how much fuel should be put in FICM. So the FICM is not done, but the FICM is if you think about it, about position where the driver is real close to the driver as far as, so it's right under where the coolant reservoir is. That's what that is. And then the last thing we're gonna do, probably in March, I'll get to it, will be the ARP studying the engine. And the reason why I'll probably be doing that last is because that's the most heavy in depth thing to do. As far as doing the other things, it will take a little bit of whatever, but it's not gonna be like removing dang near the engine on this and taking this and dealing with that. I probably will try to get some help on doing that too. There's going to be a lot of labeling that's going to have to take place in doing that. So yeah, in order to tow over 8,000 pounds, you at least have to do the ARP studying the engine first. If you don't do that, what happens again is it's like a lot of engine lift where it's gonna lift and then the head's gonna lift, and then at that point, you might as well throw it away. Because you're definitely gonna be spending at least $3,000 to $4,000 to get it up back and running again. So this concludes what we got going on. Go ahead, hug a mechanic, and make sure that you show love on the road. Share the road and things of that nature. With that being said, let's go ahead and I'm gonna bid you adieu.